Now let's go ahead and get started with question number 4. Customize your Power BI report. We have here additional instructions, as you can see here on the left. We're going to be aligning the visuals properly and also resizing the economic indicators. So let's select this visual here, population, and then the height is going to be 440, so we are good. The width is going to be 1185, so we are good there. And then for the other indicators, we have also dimensions there. So let's select all of them. We have 5. Hold down Control and select all of them. And then we need to use these measurements. 324 for height, 324, and then 230 for width. And then we can start rearranging these visuals as well. So life expectancy is going to be this one right here. This one is going to be the third one, and then electricity is going to be the last one right here. GDP is going to be the first one, then inflation is going to be the second one. We can keep making adjustments here. For previous year, we need to adjust the color transparency to 80%. If we select the visual, let's go over here, previous year GDP, color, this is gonna be 80%. And then let's repeat the same for the other visuals. Previous year inflation, this is gonna be 80%. Let's repeat this for unemployment as well. And this is gonna be 80%. Life expectancy, we do the same, 80%. Electricity rate, this is gonna be previous year, also 80%. So it's working fine, and let's do the same here for population as well. This should be columns, and then let's select here previous year population, 80%. For population, we also need to adjust the layout. If we go back to columns, let's see, all, and then layout. So we have here instructions on the left. Space between categories is going to be 20%, so we are good. Space between series is going to be 35%. So 35%. And then overlap, let's turn this on. And then flip overlap, also let's turn this on. So now this looks a little bit better. We also need to rename the title of the visuals. Double click right here. And then let's call this population. We can make this bold as well and then put this in the middle. Let's repeat the same process for the other metrics as well. This is going to be GDP. Or instead of adding the acronym, you can add here the whole expression, which is gross domestic product. Let's repeat this for the other ones as well. This is going to be just inflation. This is going to be just unemployment. So this is going to be life expectancy. And then we delete the other piece. We make this bold as well. And then for electricity rate, we do the same. Skip the electricity rate only, make this bold, and then we're going to be good to go. And make sure that this is centered as well. So we need to remove also the grid lines. Let's do this quickly. Select the visual here, go over grid lines, and then remove this for horizontal and vertical. And let's repeat this for these visuals as well. Horizontal, vertical, and let's do the same for the other ones as well. It's very repetitive, but it's also good practice. There you go. So let's take a look at the instructions here as well on the left. So we need to remove the axis titles. So let's do this. So this is redundant. We know that this is year, for example, for the x-axis. So we don't care about year here, the label. So let's remove this, and let's do the same for the y-axis. And let's repeat this process for the other visuals as well. So we don't care about this. We don't care about this. In the y-axis, let's do the same. We can also make adjustments to this piece right here, which is the new card visual. I want to make sure that we have enough room for this visual. But so far this looks good. Okay, so we can keep making adjustments here as well if we want. Let's expand this for a second. See right here? This is what we have so far. And then you can also select this, hold down Control and select these visuals. And then you can align them. Go over Format, Align horizontally. That looks so much better. And also if we go over here, Align Middle. So we are good here. And then this one, we should be good to go here as well. So let's keep making adjustments again. If we go back to the instructions, so let's see. So we rename the titles, remove the grid lines, we remove the axis titles, so we are good there. So for the line visuals, the interpolation type should be smooth. Okay, so let's do this quickly as well. So the interpolation type, this should be smooth. Okay, and this should be smooth as well. And let's repeat this for the other visual, and this should be also smooth. So we need to edit interactions as well to filter all the visuals, and this should be for all visuals here and this page. How do we do this? Let's maximize this again. So what we need to do here is let's select this visual. For example, if we go over Format, there is an option here called Edit Interactions. So once we do that, you will have here this icon, the filter icon. But before we do that, let me show you what I'm talking about. If you select 1 year, for example, you're only seeing here 1 point. If you select 2, so you're seeing 2. So this looks fine. So if you select 1 point right here, let's see what happens. You are seeing here gray out the other points. This looks fine, but we can make an adjustment here to visualize this better. So how do we do that again? Go back to Format and then Edit Interactions. So let me show you here. So now we have these icons right here, the filter icons. So let's select this option for all visuals, okay? And remember that we've been selecting this one right here. So we can select this as well. And let's move this over here. And let's repeat the process for the other visuals as well. Let's select this visual. So once we select a data point from this visual, it should filter the other visuals as well. So that is the idea. So let's do this, and then we are good. So let's select this, filter this, filter this, filter this as well. And then we select this. And then I believe we already did unemployment, so we're good here. And then life expectancy. Let's repeat the same process. When we select a data point from life expectancy, this should filter the other ones to visualize the information better. That is the point. And now if we select this visual, we want to see the same behavior. So let's filter the other visuals properly. That is the point. And we can even select this one right here if we want. I don't think it matters, but just for the example. Let's test this change. So let's select a data point right here, for example, and then you can see automatically the interaction. So you can visualize the information better. So we are good for now. Double check this. So let's go back to the instructions, okay? So we already work on this, so we are good. And then we need to remove the slicer headers. Select this slicer right here, and then the header, remove it. And then for country, let's do the same. And then we can also rearrange this a little bit better. We need to insert a clear all slicers button. So let's do this as well. Go over here and then clear all slicers. So we have this option right here, and we can customize this a little bit better as well. for default, so we want to have here a rounded rectangle, and then for fill, this is gonna be white, and then for text, this is gonna be like this. And then we can make adjustments here as well, like I said. And then we can also adjust this for press. So when we press this, we want to see the fill should be black, and then text should be white. So let's see what happens. See, like this. And we can also adjust here the border if we want. So for the border, we can add here this right here. So we press this, and let's make an adjustment here and see how this works. See? And then if we hit clear all slicers, hold down Control and click this option, and then automatically it takes you back to the previous or the initial status without filters. And let's go back to the instructions again. And then we need to add a logo here. We need to use the logo icon from the economic indicator icons file. Let's maximize this again. And again, this is going to be the name of our report for now. And we can also customize this to have white. So let's insert the logo image here. And this should be the logo. So for your company, you're going to be selecting your company's logo. But for this exercise, I decided to use this logo. But you get the idea, you get the point. Let's go back to the instructions. We need to add a question to make your report more personal. So this is the question that we need to add. Control C, go over here again, insert text, and then we're going to copy and paste it here. Control V, it's going to be like this. So we want to make the end user interact with the report, and we're asking him or her a question. Where does your country stand in today's world? Let's go back to the instructions. And then we can also customize this. It should be Arial. And then let's try 18 for now, or maybe 20. So it's up to you. And then you can also change the color for country. So in that way, where does your country stand in today's world? And then we have a slicer here for country. We can also add a feature here. Search is already there. You can look for a specific country, let's say Peru, for example. Type Peru, and then you can find Peru, and everything is going to be changing dynamically. So that is the point. So then for this slicer, we can also make adjustments there. So what other adjustments can we make? We can also increase the font size for the name of the report. So how about 20? It's up to you, like I said. You can make any additional adjustments, but the point is to make this more interactive. Hold down Control and clear all slicers, and you go back to the initial state. But if we filter this, you're seeing here a gap. So we need to make an adjustment here. Select the visual, and then instead of year, we're going to be selecting date. Okay. And then for previous year, for the labels for previous year, for now, we don't care about the labels. So we are good. So let's keep making adjustments here. Something is odd here. So let's explore this visual. If we go over the x-axis, we need to remove here the maximum. And that solves the issue. If we keep playing with the filter, so now we can see this is very responsive and dynamic. I think we are good for now. You can keep adjusting this. Let's stop these edit interactions. So you can keep adjusting this as well. Instead of referencing year, we can reference date. It's up to you, but the outcome is going to be very similar. Okay, so let's remove here the clear all slicers. So let's go back to the instructions. We need to add the data source at the bottom. So this is the data source. Let's copy this, Control C, and then let's insert here as well a text box, Control V, and this should be right here. It can be 18 or perhaps 16, it's up to you. And then you can also select here the color. How about this one right here? So that's better. And then you can keep exploring here and see how this behaves. Somehow this is not working properly, so let's fix this. Select the visual here, go back to Format and Interactions, and then boom. That should solve the issue. So let's see. So it's working fine now. If we go back to the instructions, so we are good. We made additional adjustments. I think we are good to go here. So now this is the time to go over page navigation. We need to have 3 different pages: country, continent, and world. So we already have one page, and let's rename this. As you may have guessed, this should be country, correct? The next step is going to be to duplicate the country page. Right click, duplicate, and we're going to call it continent. And then here for continent, we need to replace country with continent on the top slices. Okay, so let's do this. Remember, here we are referencing country. Instead of country, we need to reference continent. That is the point. Now we have here 5 continents, but we also have blank. We can also remove blank. We go over here, select everything but blank. Now if you click over here, we only have the continents, the true continents. So this is perfect. Go back to the instructions again, duplicate the continent page and rename it as world. We can remove all visuals and replace the current background with the drill through background. So let's do that. Duplicate this and let's call this world. And then we need to remove the background because we're going to be inserting a different background. And let's remove the visuals. So let's leave clear our slices for now and let's insert a new background. So drill through background. Let's leave clear slices there for now. And then if we go back over here, make sure this is fit. Go back to the instructions again. Now we need to insert an Azure map. Go over here, and then here, if we go over the build option, an Azure map is going to be this one right here. So it's already here. We're going to place the map right here. So for location, this is going to be country name, location, country name. And then for size, this is going to be current population. Size is going to be here. And then let's go back to the measures, current population. And then the bubble layer is going to be the minimum 2. Go over here. This is going to be 2. And then the maximum is going to be 20. We need to add a title as well, world population. Let's maximize this. Double click. And this is going to be world population. We can also make this bold. And then we need to center this. We need to make this personal as well. Go back to the instructions. We need to add this description or question. Let's insert here a text box and then let's paste it here. We can also customize this. How about 12 for now, or maybe 14? How about 16? And then this should be also Arial. We can make this red as well. This should be red. Area as well. Let's make this red and then this red as well. Drill through. So we can also make this red. This one right here. And then this should be just perhaps this one right here. So we are basically making this page more visually attractive, if that makes sense. You can also customize this. I want to make sure that this map is perfectly centered over here, and you can keep making adjustments. It's up to you. What else do we have here? So let's go back to the instructions. We need to insert a page navigator. So let's do this. Let's minimize this for now, and then we need to insert a page navigator. If you go over insert, go over buttons, and then page navigator. So now we have this option right here. Field should be off. So let's go over style, and then here field should be off. So no field, and then border should be also off. Style, default. So this is good. Text should be Arial. Font 11. Color should be white. So for default, it's gonna be this. And then for selected, we have to make a couple of changes here. The font is Arial 11. The color should be white. So we are good there. Accent bar should be on. And then the accent bar should be on. And then the position should be button. The color should be white. And also for selected, this should be 13 and bold. As you can see, so far this looks great. So let's copy the page navigator, Control C, and paste it into the other pages as well. Control V, and as you can see, it's changing because now it's referencing continent. Continent is already in bold, and then let's copy the same one and then paste it here. Now you can see that country is already highlighted and also in bold. So that's how Page Navigator works. It helps you explore pages with just a few clicks. If you hold down Control, you want to see continent, go over here, and then it's taking you over continent. If you want to see world, same story here, hold down Control, and then it's taking you to the world page. The next step is going to be to create a couple of tooltips. So let's insert here a new page, and then the first tooltip is going to be called current population by country, or tooltip country population. We can do that as well. So you can rename it here, tooltip underscore country underscore population, and then go to page information. It should be already here, the name. Page type, this should be tooltip, and then for the canvas settings, go over here again. This should be alignment, this should be middle. Now we need to insert a cluster bar chart. So let's go over here, cluster bar chart, and then we need to add here for the y-axis country name. Country name, it should be right here, y-axis, and then it should be current population for the x-axis. So this is good so far. And of course, as you might have guessed, we need to remove the title here for the axis. We don't care about that. And you can also rename the title here. This should be just current population by country name. I think we are good here. Let's make it bold and then just 12 here for now. We can also remove the grid lines. We need to adjust the maximum width to 38 for the y-axis. Okay, so let's do this. 38. So in that way we can read the countries better. And then we need to create another tooltip as well. For that one, we just need to duplicate this. Right click, duplicate. We need to rename it. Instead of country, this should be continent. So this is perfect. And then here, as you might have guessed, instead of country name, we're going to be referencing continent. Again, we can customize this. If we go over filters, we don't care about blank. Select everything but blank. We can center this if we want as well. And we can do the same for country. We forgot to do that. Title here. And then this should be centered. So then the application is going to be, we need to apply the country tooltip to the population cluster column chart in the country page. So let's go back to the country page and let's maximize this for now. Select this visual, go over properties, tooltips, and then report page. It's the same. The page that we're going to be referencing is, as you might have guessed, this one right here, tooltip country population. And this is what happens. See right here, if you hover over this, now it's giving you more details about this specific year. For example, in 2020, you want to see what's going on with each country, you have the information there. Now, if you go back to tooltip here, we can add labels as well. So that way we have more information available. So let's do the same here for continent. Go back to country, hover over any data point, and then you will see here additional information, current population by country name. As you can see, this is a really powerful feature if you want to tell more compelling stories with data. And then let's do the same for continent. Select the visual, go over properties, and then this should be continent. Now, if you hover over this, instead of giving you countries, it's giving you continent information. As you can see, this is really, really powerful. You can play with the filters as well, and everything is changing dynamically. The next step is to hide this. So let's hide this. We don't care about this. This is a good practice. We don't want to see these pages. This is just behind the scenes. That's why we're hiding them. And you will visualize this better when we publish this report to the web, to the Power BI service. So far, this is looking great, my friends.